I have a better idea. Replace all of this with better pay, and then let them celebrate in their own way or be able to just exist more comfortably. According to too many people to list, Gen Z is incredibly difficult to work with. I'm gonna guess probably those born in the 2000s and beyond because this didn't really come up until the 2020s after the oldest among Gen Z, myself included, turned 23 and had been out of college, at least for some time. Really, the 2020s is when most of Gen Z were entering the workforce. Which brings me to today's article. Stop complaining about Gen Z workers and start helping them by Susan Lucia Annunzio for the Wall Street Journal, which some of the comments have called the WSJ trash. Hey, they write some interesting pieces, so I'm going to talk about it even if it ends up being trash. At least you'll know from me instead of having gone to it directly. But before I get into all that, don't forget to give this video a like if you enjoy it. Comment your experience as either a millennial or older working with a member of Gen Z, or if you're a Gen Z worker yourself, your experience. I'd love to hear both sides. Don't forget to give this video a like and subscribe for daily videos of cultural commentary from a man caught between generations. In many ways, Gen Z is unlike previous generations entering the workforce. The obvious reason is the pandemic, which isolated many in the Gen Z generation from both their peers and adults outside of their immediate families. Some of them missed out on formative experiences that can help shape careers, such as in person classes and conversations, as well as internships, studying abroad, and working in offices alongside seasoned veterans. Well, what else do you expect to happen when everything is shut down? At the same time, Gen Z has faced an unprecedented level of rejection, ironically, as a result of technology intended to make processes easier. They can, and do, apply to dozens of colleges and hundreds of jobs with the click of a mouse. But faced with constant rejection, many young adults are more anxious, less motivated, and more afraid to take chances on take chances than previous generations. I mean, what do you expect? Like Travis Wu said about how you need to avoid filling your brain with so much cortisol from the pain of rejections. That goes for dating and it goes for job and college applications. I'm going to level with you. 2014, I literally only applied to two colleges and got into one of them. I had way less stress about the college thing compared to everyone else around me. Quite frankly, I wish I'd had the nerve to say, you know what? This college thing doesn't seem like a good fit for me. I don't think I'm gonna go. I'm just gonna go right to a blue collar job, make some money, and not deal with this shit anymore. That's not the timeline I live in right now. And I kind of wish I'd worked harder on some kind of YouTube project that I focused on and kept going with. We don't live in that timeline, but I digress. Actually, I think the real problem came down to the fact I still had to share so much space with others, but we'll talk about that another day. The TLDR of that is other people make noise, other people are unpredictable. I am literally recording this while I have the house all to myself because I don't want to have to worry about the creaking of the stairs you can probably hear if you turn the volume all the way up. But again, topic for another day. It isn't unusual to hear some bosses stereotype Gen Z hires as being difficult to manage, complaining they lack initiative, communication skills, and preparedness. In most cases, however, it would be a mistake to fire these young employees. A better response is to approach your Gen Z workers with empathy and provide opportunities for social interaction and development. The companies that do this will attract and retain the best young talent, while those that don't may continue to face turnover and disengagement. That's a weird way to say forced fun. Yeah, I have a feeling that a lot of the Gen Z Chads, as what's his face? The philosophical gamer calls them, would probably reject these because they'd be like, nope, this is forced fun, not worth it. They're probably not doing the social things, probably because, if not being socially awkward, then because they all know that it's forced fun. You get the idea. Personally, I always think these kinds of things should be replaced with a bonus that you can put towards either something that'll actually be useful for you, because that is what a job is for, to make money to live. Okay, it's more that it's more about existing because that's the practical things, but the bonus to live, meaning to do something to celebrate in your own way if you feel a need to celebrate. Like I said, the only compensation anyone should get for a job is financial compensation. No merchandise, no forced fun, no benefits. Just replace it all with pay, and it's the employee's problem, not the company's. Here are 5 suggestions on how to motivate your Gen Z employees. First one is approach with empathy. Don't accept the negative stereotypes that are sometimes used to describe Gen Z employees. Instead, work to understand what might be prompting behaviors that look strange or different than what you might expect of a new hire. For example, rather than assuming young workers are antisocial or unfriendly, consider why they might find it difficult to interact with others and help them figure out what would make it easier. If they seem overly sensitive, explore why this might be rather than judging them. They're probably addicted to their phones, I'm just gonna say it. Or they just want to get home to communicate online with people in a niche of something they actually care about, because that's the beauty of the internet. That is also a curse, according to Tim Pool. You can basically find a community of anything you want. Like on Reddit, there is r/bald for bald people to celebrate their baldness and to talk about it and everything like that. I have posted on there a couple of times, I admit, just for the validation of knowing that my baldness is useful and practical. Second one, unlock their technology skills. During the pandemic, many young people used their alone time to enhance their technology skills. Some dabbled in coding or video production, think TikTok, while others experimented with AI, built apps, or found new ways to create and connect in a digital-first world. These talents don't necessarily show up on resumes, so ask your young workers what technology skills they might have gained during lockdowns and how they applied them. Are those skills being used in their current role, or is there a better fit within the organization? I mean, do those skills have any relevance to the job? And hey, are you going to pay them for that particular set of skills? Skills they acquired over whatever amount of time they spent developing them. Are these skills going to translate into something beneficial? Like if you make them the social media person, are they likely to be able to increase the company's social media reach? Like I've been looking at the X account for the Museum of Science recently. I've noticed they have barely any replies despite being a well-known place in the greater Boston area. Same thing with what was it? Oh yeah, the Children's Museum, when I tracked down the adult night thing to show you that yes, they actually held an adults only nighttime thing, 90s night. The point I'm trying to make with all this is yeah, there's potential for something like that, but inevitably they're going to want higher pay or for their job description to be that instead of that. Or they could probably hire a social media agency. There are plenty out there. I've thought about getting into it myself, but I'd have to make more compelling content than this. Although, drop a like if you find this format compelling. Create space for conversation. Gen Z has been raised in a world of asynchronous communication. Texts, DMs, emails, as well as Zoom meetings where they can turn off their video and audio. And participation is often optional. Forget about telling these employees you have an open door policy. They won't walk through it. Instead, leaders may need to create intentional, low pressure spaces for conversation. That could mean taking young employees out for coffee or setting up one on one video calls. This isn't a formal check in or performance review, it's a conversation where your job is to listen. Ask your young workers about their ambitions, professional and personal frustrations, and the influences shaping their world. When this generation feels heard, they will engage and grow. Or you're going to find out you won't be able to accommodate these needs and wants. Because at a certain point, there's just an inherent nature of the job where if you can't, where there are just some things that are going to be there no matter what. See, it's why the Americans with Disabilities Act calls for, requires, quote, reasonable accommodations that don't alter the nature of an activity or job or something like that. So, for example, a white collar office job, like a blind person can be a lawyer because documents can be reasonably expected to be translated into Braille so that they can read them and then be able to do their job with that reasonable of an accommodation. Whereas they can't be bus drivers because you kind of need vision to be able to drive a bus effectively. Like that, there is no reasonable accommodation that can be made for a blind person to be a bus driver. At a certain point, there are just some accommodations that cannot be made. And I'm pretty sure this is also a good way to find out if they have anything that, any requests that can't be accommodated. And on top of that, well, at a certain point, you're just going to have to accept that they're going to do what they're going to do. And hey, maybe focus on the actual results. You know, they might also be really guarded because if they say too much, they could risk getting fired. They've probably grown up with a lot more concerns about things like that. I don't know. Let's just get back to the article. Encourage socialization. Think back to your first job. How did you make friends? Office banter, post work drinks, and team lunches were the foundation of your professional network. Now imagine starting your career without them. That's the reality for many in Gen Z. Yeah, they're all online. They don't really make friends at work because, well, you know how basically it's frowned upon now to meet a romantic partner at work. Yeah, I personally am very hesitant to have work be somewhere where I have friends. I just look at it as a place to go to make a paycheck and to just move on so that I can exist and maybe try to live a little. Now, you can make friends at a job. It can happen. It's just a lot less likely today because, one, you got more expectations of a stricter environment, and more people have the understanding that something they do outside the confines of the workplace could come back to haunt them. See, this is why managers are not supposed to spend time with people who report to them outside the context of work, because even if it's not a romantic thing, it still creates a sense of favoritism and could lead to bias either way. And two, most people probably have online groups that they're a part of that are fit into their hyper specific niche. Back to the article. Your role as a leader isn't just to manage their work. It's to introduce them to workplace culture. Do you provide opportunities for socialization? Maybe it's cornhole Fridays, a bowling league, or a team lunch. Better yet, ask them what they want. Identify your most outgoing employees and form a culture committee. Make socialization part of onboarding, not an afterthought. I have a better idea. Replace all of this with better pay, and then let them celebrate in their own way or be able to just exist more comfortably. Stop it with the workplace culture. Stop it with cornhole Fridays, bowling leagues, team lunch. Look, it's not the 90s anymore. People are way more individualistic about all this. Nobody is at work for social reasons. We all know that we are there for a paycheck. Would it be nice to make some friends along the way? Sure. Is it likely to happen? Not really, because the internet provides our ability to connect with other communities of our choice. And again, everyone sees all the way through the BS of the forced fun. As I said earlier, I'm going to say it again. It should be illegal to offer anything other than financial compensation for doing a job. Honestly, I say get rid of all the forced fun and then let people go out and celebrate in their own way or just do what they want after work. The workplace is not somewhere for fun. You are here to work, make a paycheck, do your job reasonably well, and get out as soon as possible. So, you know what? Socialization, yeah, there's got to be some kind of social cohesion, some kind of mutual trust and respect for other people. But you got to remember at the end of the day, these are not your friends. These are people who are here to make money, maybe find some kind of purpose along the way, and then move on with their day so that they can go home to their friends and family. I don't know. You let me know in the comments down below if I'm exemplifying the Gen Z antisocial stereotype. Because despite being born really early into it, I am Gen Z for all intents and purposes. And the final, what was it called? Strategy? Suggestion. The final suggestion, create a formal development plan. Formal development plans are more critical for Gen Z than they were for prior generations, when informal mentoring was more common. Such plans might include internal or external classes or workshops, a mentorship program, peer support groups, and opportunities to shadow employees or other role models. Efforts to improve Gen Z's verbal communication skills, such as a public speaking class or a workshop on difficult conversations, can be very helpful. Your job as a boss isn't to make these workers more like you. It's to make them the best version of themselves and maximize their value to your company. The choice is yours. Complain about Gen Z or coach them to become stars. Hey, it's like Mr. Miyagi said, there's no such thing as a bad student, only bad teacher. That's different here because there are bad employees who are either consistently late or do their job terribly and never improve on it. Whereas with a teacher student dynamic, Mr. Miyagi is on the money about that because the idea is the teacher has to figure out how to make the material appealing and understandable for the student. Now take the Karate Kid. Mr. Miyagi teaches Daniel karate through first all the chores like wax on, wax off, and paint the fence. But I'm going to leave it here for the video. You let me know in the comments down below what you think about all this. Again, you let me know if you have experience working with these Zoomers and confirming or denying whether this is actually true. Or if you're a Zoomer and want to tell your side of the story, the comments section is open for that. Don't forget to give this video a like if you enjoyed it. And subscribe for daily videos of cultural commentary from a man caught between generations. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon.